gonna cry. I always do.
Emotions run high as Mayor Brent Taylor's body was returned to his family.
Mia Love tries to sue the Salt Lake County clerk to stop counting votes until signatures are verified, but the district attorney dismisses the suit. What this means for the continuing election.
As the wildfires in California continue to burn, the number of missing people continues to rise. Where the majority of the missing people are from and what is being done to find them. Welcome to Newsline. It's Thursday, November 15th. I'm Danny Hallows.
And I'm Adam Gibby. Major Brent Taylor's body is now back in Utah and received a dignified welcome at the Ronald R. Wright Air National Guard Base.
Madeline Reber was at the National Guard Base and joins us now. Madeline, it was a solemn hero's welcome for Major Taylor.
Yes, it was. Family, veterans, and community members all gathered together to welcome the body of the fallen soldier.
Flags waved in the wind and soldiers stood at attention as Major Brent Taylor's body arrived in Utah. Major Taylor, a member of the Army National Guard and mayor of North Ogden, was killed in an insider attack on his 4th tour to Afghanistan. His remains came from the Dover Air Force Base in Delaware and arrived in Utah at 3:30 p.m. He was greeted by his now widow, 7 children, the Army National Guard, and close friends. Fellow soldiers lowered the casket off the plane, draped it with an American flag, and carried it to a line of soldiers in uniform. Taylor's wife said, quote, "On behalf of the family, I would like to thank you for being a part of this important homecoming." Besides close family members and friends, many community members gathered outside of the National Guard base to pay tribute to Major Taylor.
It's a lot of gratitude mixed with a lot of emotion and sadness for the family as well, because they are the ones who also make a huge sacrifice for everybody else.
Police, first responders, and the Patriot Guard riders accompanied Taylor's body on the 40-mile procession to the mortuary in North Ogden.
I'm gonna cry. I always do. I know that freedom doesn't come without a cost.
The viewing for Taylor's body will be held on Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the D Event Center at Weber State University. The funeral will be the following day at 1 p.m. and he will be buried in the Ben Lomond Cemetery. Ogden City plans on closing the street Saturday for a large procession following the funeral. Back to you.
The Love McAdams congressional race is still too close to call, but now McAdams is leading Love by less than 900 votes. After Salt Lake County votes were counted, McAdams' lead over Love shrank to 873 votes. 64,000 ballots still need to be counted from Salt Lake and Utah County. As of now, Salt Lake County has Love with 45.6% of the vote and McAdams with 53.9%. And in Utah County, Love has 74.4% of the vote, whereas McAdams has 25.6%. Mia Love tried to stop Salt Lake County from counting ballots by filing a petition against the county, but her petition was dismissed. Love wanted the signatures on the ballots to be compared with signatures on file with the county. Last night, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office filed a motion to dismiss Love's petition. The motion was filed in the 3rd District Court.
A medical marijuana support group is threatening a lawsuit against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The reason they are threatening the lawsuit is over the church's involvement in helping the Utah State Legislature create a compromise for Prop 2. The church doesn't support Prop 2. The group, Together for Responsible Use in Cannabis Education, sent a letter to the LDS Church, Utah Patients Coalition, the Utah Medical Association, and other members of the legislature. The letter threatened the lawsuit against the church. Support for a Utah ballot measure to create an independent redistrict commission is at a 50.1% lead since the end of election week. The measure is now extremely close with 49% against it. A race this close and this late means it's likely this proposition is not locked in to pass. The proposition would have created a 7-person commission to draw up new maps for the congressional and state legislative districts after the 2020 census.
It's been 1 week since the Camp and Woolsey fire started, and some people are finally being allowed to return to their neighborhoods. Today, DNA samples will be taken from missing people's relatives. This will help with the locating of more than 100 people who are still missing. Omar Jimenez reports.
As firefighters take control of the Woolsey and Camp fires in California, many people remain missing.
There are a lot of people that want some answers. They are depending on us to find their loved one.
The National Guard is assisting in the search, sifting through debris and turning over rubble, looking for bodies. The grim task is taking its toll on crews.
Everybody that's involved here has an emotional connection to this. A lot of the people that are from this community have directly been impacted by either losing their home or know somebody that lost their home.
The majority of the missing are from Paradise, a Northern California town all but wiped from the face of the earth.
We went all over town yesterday and we did not see any neighborhood that wasn't devastated.
The mayor of Paradise says they were not prepared for the fire's speed.
The winds were so strong, it was blowing embers 1 to 2 miles. The fire chief told me that. It was just blowing in 2 miles at a time. We had no time at all, maybe 5 minutes.
Still, she is confident they will rise from the ashes.
We're gonna come back, we're gonna rebuild, we're gonna make Paradise Paradise again.
Salt Lake police are still searching for a man who is suspected to be involved in a recent stabbing. Police identified the suspect as Kitus Shane Johannes. He is 31 years old. The stabbing happened on November 8th in the area of 477 North and 300 West at around 9:30 p.m. If you have any information, please call the Salt Lake Police Department at 801-799-3000.
Police arrested a man who is accused of prostituting, raping, kidnapping, and beating 2 women. 52-year-old James Savage Brown will be charged in 3rd District Court with 7 felony charges. One of Brown's victims first met him at a bus stop in Sandy, and then he kidnapped her and held her in his apartment. He forced her to work for sex for years and threatened her with violence. The other victim was kept in a hotel room by Brown for several days, where he raped and abused her.
You may know what TED Talks are, but have you heard of Pen Talks? Newsline reporter Amy Hamilton went to a Pen Talk held at Brigham Young University. Amy, what is a Pen Talk?
PEN stands for Perspective Education Narratives. Last night's panel focused on stereotypes and personal identity. Several minority students shared their unique stories.
Pen Talks are a chance for BYU students to come together in a safe place and discuss diverse topics. Last night, Brigham Young University student alumni hosted the second Pen Talk. 5 diverse BYU students participated in a panel discussion and shared their individual stories about how they've been stereotyped, particularly at BYU. Pen Talks are the brainchild of one of the panelists.
We had a real conversation with a student who needed help, and that student was Kira Nielsen, and she talked a little bit about the struggles that students can have on campus when they feel like their stories aren't being told. But ultimately, she gave us the idea to have a discussion or a panel where people could tell about their life.
Kira opened up at the panel about how people have stereotyped her throughout her whole life, just because of her skin color. She wants a change.
People become more open-minded and they're willing to swallow their pride and get to know people who look different than them, believe different things, have different political beliefs, different backgrounds, and this campus is going to change.
The discussion also included sexual, cultural, and religious identity.
This is me.
BYUSA leaders are hoping that Pen Talks will improve open communication and acceptance right here on BYU's campus.
It's not going to be a comfortable process.
I kind of live by a motto of what's their story. When we take the time to ask people what their story is, then we break down the stereotypes and we break down the barriers and we get to know them for who they are.
Anthony asked the audience not to leave the discussion there. He encouraged students to lean into the discomfort of a heavy issue and share what they learned with others.
It's amazing to have a platform like this where people are here to support us.
BYUSA has planned a total of 4 panels for the 2018-2019 school year. So if you missed the chance to attend the first 2 panels, be sure to stay updated with BYUSA for next semester. Back to you.
Thanks, Amy. 2100 North in Lehigh will close this weekend at the I-15. Construction crews will lower a roadway and convert the interchange to a temporary diverging diamond interchange, or DDI. The DDI is expected to be in place until 2020. Technology Corridor Construction urges drivers to plan ahead this weekend and use different roads when driving through Lehigh.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced the dates for an open house for their new temple in Haiti. The temple's open house will start on April 20th and will end Saturday, May 4th of 2019, except for the Sundays of April 21st and 28th. The Church of Jesus Christ will hold a youth devotional on Saturday, May 18th, and the church will dedicate the temple on the following day, Sunday, May 19th. Thomas S. Monson, then president of the church, announced the temple construction at a church-wide conference in 2015. The man suspected of mailing bombs to high-ranking politicians is in court today. The charges he faces coming up.
The big winners from the Country Music Awards after the break.
And Utah's first ski resort opens its slopes for the season. What to expect before you head to the mountain.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit?
Banana. How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Vice President Mike Pence attended a summit today in Singapore where he talked with Russia's Vladimir Putin and other world leaders.
Much work remains, and I look forward to discussing with you the plans for another summit.
The East Asia Summit brought together 18 nations and their leaders. Pence and Putin were sitting next to each other during the summit. They talked briefly about the upcoming G20 summit that President Trump and Putin will both be attending. Pence spoke at the summit and said that the U.S. would continue to stand with their allies in the South China Sea. Saudi prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for 5 people allegedly involved in the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi Public Prosecutor's Office announced a total of 11 people that have been charged in connection with his death. They say the 5 people facing capital punishment were directly involved in ordering and executing the crime.
Mail bomb suspect Cesar Sayoc is being arraigned in a New York federal court in a meeting that just started 15 minutes ago. The 56-year-old is accused of sending at least 16 mail bombs to several high-ranking political targets. Sayoc faces 5 charges that include threats against former presidents and other persons and assaulting current and former federal officers. And there were heartfelt dedications at the 52nd annual CMA Award Show last night.
Dedicated to the 12 individuals whom we lost far too soon just a week ago tonight. Please.
Garth Brooks dedicated the show to victims of the Thousand Oaks shooting, and another winner, Chris Stapleton, dedicated his song Broken Halo to the victims of the California wildfires. Keith Urban took home the Entertainer of the Year, and Carrie Underwood won the Female Vocalist of the Year for the 5th time.
Local tech startup company Qualtrics just cashed in for $8 billion. Newsline reporter Haley Davis went to the heart of the tech ecosystem in Lehigh to see how this big sale is affecting Silicon Slopes. Haley?
In 2002, on a street like this here in Provo, 2 brothers and their dad got together to start a company. By 2004, 20 employees parked their cars outside the house to work on the tech company we know today as Qualtrics. On Sunday night, Ryan Smith, the CEO and founder of Qualtrics, officially sold the basement company for $8 billion cash. It is an incredible and motivating story for entrepreneurs alike. CEO and founder of Kiln, a local Lehigh company made for entrepreneurs, says this is an exciting time for Utah startups.
Their exit is really exciting for everyone, really. Utah has wonderful talent.
That's exemplified at Qualtrics. And we believe that a lot of that talent exists in the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Utah's culture with a focus on families and hard work lends itself to startups. Forbes deems Utah County as one of the hottest spots for up-and-coming companies.
For me, it's like Candyland for startups. Like it's like Candyland for me. I love being here.
Many are tech companies with a need for a place to work, like Kiln.
Kiln is actually a community designed to help forge the future of tech. We're focused on seed to Series B tech and enabling early stage tech companies to have a wonderful environment to work in and a community that helps them to scale. So we believe that you can only be in one place at one time, and that place should really count.
Startups are demanding and tiresome, but CEO and team members alike agree a community like Kiln helps them grow structure and success.
Kiln is the place. The next unicorn will come out of Kiln. What excites me most is what it means for the whole ecosystem here in Utah.
Kiln has 90 companies working in its space, and many of the CEOs come from Brigham Young University.
So we are a startup originally out of BYU. Yeah, last day of the semester, the professor got up and basically said, don't try to beat the market, just invest in index funds. And I realized that everything I wanted to do, he pretty much just crushed my dreams. And so I walked out, changed my major to entrepreneurship, and started working on this company.
BYU has some of the greatest entrepreneurial minds. With the sale of Qualtrics on Sunday, the future is bright and exciting for startup tech companies in Utah. Reporting in Provo for Newsline, I'm Haley Davis.
Thanks, Haley.
If you've been seeing a lot of social media posts about premature babies, that's because this Saturday is World Premature Awareness Day. Newsline reporter Jasmine Haruni is here to help us stand in those teeny tiny little shoes. Jasmine, who did you talk to?
I spoke with parents and hospital specialists. Premature birth is the leading cause of death for young children worldwide, and even when babies survive, it can be very hard on the family.
This is current size. So like the micro preemie versus size 2.
Shannon and Tyler Carlisle had prepared for big adventures before, and their first child was no different. They looked forward to the May due date with excitement. Then Shannon went into preterm labor in January. Lori Buss, a parent support coordinator, says having a preemie is never part of the plan.
They feel like they're on a journey that they didn't prepare for at all.
Shannon and Tyler rushed to the emergency room.
You have two options. We can try and save him, and he might just spend his few hours of life hooked up to machines, being poked by needles, or you can just hold him and enjoy him for a couple of hours. And then, sorry. But then I stayed pregnant for 5 more weeks.
They put Shannon on strict bed rest. The baby still weighed only about a pound. Hunter Carlisle was born 10 weeks before his due date. It was 9 days before his parents could hold him, and months before they took him home from the newborn intensive care unit.
At what point did you know that he was going to be okay? The day we were admitted. I don't know. I just knew he was going to be okay.
Hunter will have no lasting problems as far as they can tell, but many preemies are not so lucky. Being born early can hinder brain and lung development, among other issues. Lori says the best way to support families going through long hospital stays and medical bills is just to listen.
Just saying, I'm sorry, that is really hard.
The NICU was definitely the hardest thing we've ever done, but I've never seen, I saw miracles daily.
According to Lori, the best way to support someone going through a long NICU stay is to lend a listening ear and offer continued support, like childcare or meals.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Snow in sight, but that's not stopping Brighton Ski Resort from opening its slopes today. This is a look at the mountain right before opening, and Brighton posted these happy skiers to social media. If you're planning on heading to the mountain today, Brighton's current temperature is 24 degrees, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect temperature for pumping some snow. Brighton's base has a nice 16 inches, and the resort will be pumping new snow throughout most of the day. And taking a look here, this is Bryan Head down in southern Utah. You can see that nice red rock that southern Utah has, and unfortunately not too much snow, but it does open tomorrow, and some lower temperatures will be able to pump some new snow. So taking a look at our highs across the state, we did have a cold front move through yesterday, but our temperatures are coming up with about 50 degrees throughout most of the state, and nice 64 degrees down in St. George. And our Utah lows, We have 30, 29 in Provo, so a little bit lower. Like I mentioned, down in Bryan Head area, we will have colder temperatures tonight, so they will be able to be pumping some new snow. And then taking a look at our 5-day forecast for southern Utah, sun across most of the weekend and into next week, 60 degrees, 64 degrees for tomorrow. And taking a look at our 5-day forecast up here in northern Utah, it's cloudy today, but it's nice and sunny tomorrow, and heading into the weekend, we will see some clouds, but into next week, again, it is nice and sunny, and we do have some increasing temperatures, so it's a good time to head outside and enjoy it. And maybe head to the ski slopes. I don't know, are you guys skiers?
That sounds like a ton of fun.
Yes.
Gotta break out the snow jackets.
Yes.
Well, if it can hold off till after Thanksgiving, I'll be a happy man.
Yeah.
The Jazz had a big loss last night, but how bad was it really? We'll tell you when we get back. BYU women's soccer team is bolstering their roster for next season. Who they're losing and how many they're getting, all when we get back.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
BYU women's soccer recruited 8 new players. The team is losing 2 players, senior Maddie Gates and freshman Olivia Wade. The 8 new recruits come from Idaho, California, and Utah. The girls will join the team for the 2019 season. BYU women's volleyball travels to California to face off against St. Mary's. This is the second time this season the 2 teams will face off. In their last matchup, BYU won without losing a set. BYU men's basketball comes off a win as they face off against the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. The Cougars have only lost 1 game so far, their first game of the season against the University of Nevada Wolfpack. The game will be at 7 p.m. in the Marriott Center. The Utah Jazz lost to the Dallas Mavericks by a whopping 50 points. This marks the worst loss since the team moved to Utah, and the only other time the team has lost this bad was in 1979 against the Milwaukee Bucks. It was the following season that the Jazz moved to Utah. The Jazz beat the Mavericks in their other 2 matchups this season. Utah plays against the Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow at 5 p.m. The LA Lakers' LeBron James passed Wilt Chamberlain on the NBA's all-time scoring list when he scored 44 points against the Portland Trail Blazers. James earned it making a scoop layup and getting fouled. The free throw gave him the point he needed. Duke hosting Eastern Michigan, Cam Reddish comes up with the steal. He tosses to Zion Williamson for the nasty slam dunk. Then check out the replay as Williamson goes way up, throws it down. There's your play of the day. The Anaheim Ducks face off against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights included an elaborate pregame show and then hit it off with a score in the first. The Ducks scored on themselves at one point, and the game ended 5-0 in favor of the Golden Knights. The St. Louis Blues played against the Chicago Blackhawks last night. Both teams made good shots against the goal, but the Blackhawks won, scoring a single point off a knocked-in puck from the Blues. The Blackhawks win broke an 8-game losing streak. We'll be right back.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Snow in Canada isn't really something most people living there get excited about.
But for these young African refugees experiencing snow for the first time, it's just pure joy. Dressed in thick winter coats, the brother and sister rushed outside to twirl in the falling snowflakes. Toronto resident Rebecca Davies posted this video to social media. She's hosting a family of 5 from the East African country of Eritrea, which has one of the most repressive regimes in the world. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau even retweeted it, and this 43-second clip has been viewed millions of times on Twitter and been shared tens of thousands of times. That's all we have for you today.
Thanks for joining us and have a wonderful day.